Good morning. We made it to Friday again. Boy, it looks like I'm in a hole today. Sometimes I have a cushion underneath me and it's over there. I didn't bring it over today. So hello from a little lower. I hope you've had a good week. I don't know if you noticed the title I gave to today's yoga practice, but have you hugged your lymph nodes today? So as you probably know, I spent my professional life as a nurse and kind of found a niche in cardiology, cardiopulmonary medicine. And so I have this interest in Western medicine, but these Eastern ancient practices, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, Ayurveda, the Indian medicine practice, Chinese medicine practices, just blend together so nicely. And oftentimes there's these aha moments. And the lymph system became one of those. So this is the time of year, even in more normal times, that we start to worry about cold and flu season and a little more focused on supporting our immune system. And lo and behold, these ancient practices have so much to offer in that regard. So I kind of explain things as I go so you don't get my big lecture this early in the morning about the lymph system. Meet me on the mat. And let's start in a seated position, finding a comfortable upright seat. And as you're coming to that, know that the lymph system, and a brief explanation, is a system that moves fluid, plasma. Once it enters the lymph system, it's called lymphatic fluid, but it takes that fluid through vessels into different checkpoints that are our lymph nodes. And we have between 700 and 800 lymph nodes throughout the body. Places that they're clustered, you are probably very aware of, because when we get sick, oftentimes we get swelling and soreness in the lymph nodes. So in the neck, in the armpits, the mammary glands, male and female, in the groin, and behind the knees are some places where there's big clusters. That soreness doesn't mean that anything other than an infection is wrong. That means the lymph system's working. There are a couple of things, well, more than a couple of things, that the yoga practice offers to help support this system. The lymph system doesn't have a pump like the circulatory system. The heart pumps the blood through the vessels. The lymph system relies on our movement, the movement of the musculoskeletal system, and in some respects, the arterial pumping, those walls pounding against the vessels of the lymph, will help to move that fluid along as well. It's one direction, it's going back to the heart through all these checkpoints, and these checkpoints have little police, little cells in those lymph nodes to identify any pathogens and start that immune system rolling, so we develop some antibodies and kill the germs. The breath can be very important in moving that lymph along. There's a lot of lymph in the mucosal lining of the lungs and the intestines. So as we come to our breath practice this morning, we're going to breathe into the belly, our deep diaphragmatic breath. Inhale, feel the diaphragm press down and expand the contents of the abdomen. And then as you exhale, draw the navel in and up so the diaphragm lifts and helps to push out the breath. Keep breathing in this way. And know that there are two big places where the lymph fluid collect as they return to the bloodstream. One is up here in the chest and one's in the belly. And the action of diaphragmatic breath presses into those places, and it's like squeezing and releasing a sponge. So the movement of the breath is helping to move along the lymphatic fluid. And returning that into the bloodstream, that plasma, that volume gets back into the blood. And as you're inhaling and exhaling, notice the expansion into the abdomen and then the contraction. We kind of massage the contents of the belly, the digestive organs with the breath. And remember, in the mucosal lining of the intestines lies lymphatic tissue. So we're massaging that. And also the lining of the lungs. So the breath is massaging the lymphatic tissue. We'll take about 5 more breaths, shifting awareness to the actual breath coming and going into and out of the lungs. So important to breathe deeply, to keep all parts of the lungs, that respiratory tract, aerated. Keep it moving and flowing, and not neglect the deepest part of the lungs, where if we don't take a deep breath, stagnation can occur. And things like pneumonia can develop. And then open your eyes. So inhale, reach up. We'll start our warm up. And exhale down. Armpits, big place for lymphatic tissue, lymph nodes. So this movement is milking that lymph system. Inhaling and exhaling with more awareness into the lymphatic system through our practice today. How this movement can help to move that lymph along. Now bring the hands to the lap. Remember, there's a lot of lymphatic tissue in the head and the neck. So start turning the head side to side. With that awareness, like you're wringing out a cloth. But we're really wringing those lymph nodes, squeezing and releasing them so we can pump that lymph fluid along. And bring your gaze forward, drop your chin to your chest, and really drop the chin down. And then as you lift your gaze, jut your chin forward. So bring your lower teeth beyond your upper teeth. Feel that extra little stretch in the throat and neck. Back and forth. We'll do 2 more of these each way. Last round. And then one last direction. We're going to tip left ear to left shoulder. Let's hold here just for a moment and take your fingertips and tap along the side of the neck, the top of the shoulder. I'm not going to tap too hard because that's the side my microphone's on. But we're releasing tension in the neck muscles. And by releasing that tension, you get a better contraction and relaxation in that area of the muscles. So the muscles will support the lymphatic tissue. And then second side, right ear to right shoulder, fingertips just tap around. Think about all those processes that we're supporting with our movement today to keep us healthy. Now some shoulder rolls, but again with awareness in the armpits and in the neck and in the shoulder area. All these lymph nodes that we're massaging and supporting. I go the other direction. And pause just a breath or two, that nice deep diaphragmatic breath. Flood the lungs with breath. And then let go completely. 3 more breaths. Picture all those little airways staying open, clear down into the bottoms of the lungs. And then exhale, taking that breath out, releasing byproducts of metabolism, that stale, stagnant energy. And then receiving new. 1 more big breath in and out. Meet me in tabletop. So hands and knees. Let's go through a few cat and cow. This is a pretty traditional way to warm up the spine, but bring some awareness to places where there's clusters of lymph nodes in the groin, in the gut, in the lungs, and the armpits. And feel that contraction and relaxation in those areas. And then let's do some barrel rolls or jump roping with the spine, so kind of a circular motion. Go the other way. Now hip circles, so on the knees, and again, feel into the groin spaces, notice the armpits. We call that axilla, axillary region. Now go the other way. Supporting our immune system. And then back to neutral. Tuck your toes. Let's come into downward facing dog. Behind the backs of the knees, another place where there's clusters of lymph nodes. So as you pedal your dog, feel that stretch into the back of the knees and then softening. See if you can guide your movement here by bringing awareness behind the knee space. Sometimes we call it, in yoga, we call that the knee pit instead of the armpit. But it's popliteal as the anatomical term. Some people say popliteal. And then come to stillness. Send those heels down, press the thighs back, and breathe deep in this shape. So, especially if you're feeling like you're ill, it's a good idea to change your orientation to gravity to help drain any fluid accumulation in the lungs and just keep things moving. So we've kind of inverted our lungs here. And if you weren't feeling well, especially if you had like a productive cough, it would be helpful to do some down dogs, just shift things around. It's also very helpful, and this is a new one to me, to lay on the belly more as you're breathing. So hopefully you won't get sick this winter, but if you do, and you find that you're laying down to rest and you're feeling respiratory symptoms, flip over onto your belly and some down dogs. 2 more breaths. Bring the gaze forward. Let's step forward between the hands. As you inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Again, feel the backs of the legs. You can even take your hands back there and make some circles. And then fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Swing your arms out and up. And exhale the hands home to the heart. Inhale, swing your arms up. Take your left wrist with your right hand. Pull and stretch over to the right. Breathe. Feel that stretch all up and down the left side of the body. Maybe even lift the heart, lift the gaze. Back to center. We'll pull up on the right wrist and stretch over to the left. Bringing awareness in the groin, in the armpit. And maybe turning the heart and the gaze up towards the sky. Finding ways to stretch into those areas where we know now that there's lots of lymph. And exhale the arms down. Let's do some shoulder rolls here. And then come to stillness, hands to heart. More focus on the breath. Inhale into the belly. Exhale, draw navel in and up. Push all of the air out. Release. And that in-breath starts automatically. 3 more here. Churning the belly. Really aerating the lungs. Massaging the lymph with the breath. As you inhale, swing your arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward. And inhale, lift halfway. As you step back into a plank, pause here. And again, laying on the belly is a good idea, especially if you're having upper respiratory symptoms. So this is called prone position. Of course, you wouldn't lay in bed like this. It'd be kind of strange. But some planks through your practice would be a good idea to help with lung health. Now drop the knees, come to the belly. Now remember the groin and the armpits and the intestines and the lungs have lymphatic systems. So keep that awareness as you lift up into your back bend. Feel that stretch, that compression. Remembering that our movement is the force behind the movement of the lymphatic system. Let's do 3 more. One more. Tuck the toes, down dog. Swing your right leg back and up. Bend the knee and stack the hips. Now feel that nice stretch. Where are you feeling it? Where do you want to feel it? Adjust. See if you can find some stretch in all those areas that need a little squeeze, a little hug to the lymph nodes. Step the right foot forward. Keep that left leg on the ball of the foot. We're going to rise up in a lunge. Take your hands to your hips. Curl the tailbone so it kind of points down. You're leveling out the pelvis. Feel this nice stretch back here. So we're stretching into the left groin and stretching into the right groin, and the left groin is contracting, so we're doing good on both sides. Let's bring our hands to heart. Come into high crescent lunge. Reach up. Let's come into goddess here. You know, I like to bring my arms into goddess in this shape. Now adding a little movement to the arms. I'm going to keep goddess, but bring the forearms forward to touch. Inhale, lift and open. And exhale, forearms forward to touch. 3 more of these. Nice deep breath. 2 more. Last one. And this time fold forward, frame the foot, step back in plank. You can either drop the knees or come down to the belly with strong shoulders. 5 big back bends. Inhale. And exhale. Maybe you come into up dog. Inhale. And exhale. 3 more. Last one. And coming down, tuck the toes, down dog. Left leg back and up. Bend the knee, stack the hips. Remember all those places, armpit, behind the knee, groin, lungs, belly. See how you can move and stretch into those places. And then step forward, rising up into a high lunge on this side. Hands to hips, scoop that tailbone down towards the mat. And you may need to leave just a little bend in that right knee, or maybe not. Swing your arms up. Goddess. Maybe you got a little more back bend this time. And then forward. We'll do 5 total. That was 1, 2, 3, 5, fold forward. Come down to the belly, let's find crocodile. So now this is a prone position that you could rest in bed. Now in a crocodile, we lay flat on our belly. Legs out wide. But if you were in bed, you could lift one knee and rest your head on your hand, turning your head, but just find a way. I like to sleep on my stomach. So this is one I already do. So play here a little bit and see if you can find a comfortable position. We'll kind of modify our crocodile. And breathe. Feeling the breath in the back of the lungs. So this little pressure on the front of the chest, on the belly, makes it a little more difficult to take a big breath in, but we're strengthening the diaphragm. We need a nice, strong diaphragm for deep, efficient breathing. Now, let's press back up into downward facing dog. And step it forward, maybe some big steps this time. On an inhale, lift halfway. On an exhale, fold. Swing your arms out and up. And exhale the hands home to the heart. Let's step back with the right foot. Coming into warrior one, so a little outward turn of that back foot. Bend into the left knee. Keep the shoulders over the hips. Take the hands to heart. On an inhale, let's lift the prayer. So exalted warrior. Breathe. Breathe into the armpits. And exhale, we're just going to fold forward. So kind of a flying warrior with the arms back and up. Inhale up. Exhale, forward and down. Arms back and up. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. This time we're going to open into warrior two. So now I've externally rotated the back leg. And maybe you widen your stance. Bring your hands to your hips. And that left hip draws back. And let your right hip kind of wrap forward a little. And then from the hips up, turn everything to your right. Arms out from shoulders. Turn and look at the left fingertips. Breathe deep into the belly. And as you exhale, churn. It's a little exaggerated movement of the belly, exaggerated breath. Now take your right hand either down the leg or take that half bind. And we'll reach up into peaceful warrior. Feel that stretch up and down the left side body. Breathe. And then back to warrior two. Take your hands to your hips, straighten the front leg. Pivot and come to Prasarada. Pinky toe edges of the feet are parallel to the short edges of the mat. I got a nice wide stance here. Inhale up. Take your hands behind you on the exhale. Lace the fingers. Keep the elbows bent. Draw those elbows towards each other. Feel that in your armpits and pectoralis muscles and the mammary area of your chest. Push those knuckles down. Reach the knuckles away from the low back. And then fall forward here. So another opportunity to not only stretch through the armpits, through the front of the chest, but now we're changing the lungs orientation to gravity. Two more breaths. Release the hands down to the mat. Walk on the fingertips and step to the top of the mat. On an inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Swing your arms out and up. Exhale the hands home to the heart. Hands to hips. Stepping back with the left. Warrior one. Keep the shoulders over the hips. Bend into the right knee. Reach to the pinky toe edge of that back foot. Swing your arms up by your ears. And then lift the heart, lift the gaze. So gravity can also be of assistance with the lymphatic system. The path that the lymph takes is unidirectional, so it only goes one way, to the heart. And there's little valves all along the vessels in the lymph. So we're draining the lymphatic fluid towards the heart. Now exhale, fold forward. We'll take our little flying warrior, really reach back and up. Inhale, up. And exhale, fold forward. Arms back and up. One more. Feel the stretch, feel the movement. And as you inhale, open into warrior two. So externally rotate the back foot, maybe wiggle the leg back. Remember, full expression of Virabhadrasana 2 is with that thigh in the front parallel to the mat. Hands to hips. I'm going to draw my right hip back. I like to take the heel of my hand to the crest of my pelvis on the left and kind of wrap it forward and turn everything to the left. Swing your arms out. Drop the shoulders out of the ears. Look at the right fingertips. Reach in both directions. Spread the fingers wide. Breathe deeply into the belly. An exaggerated belly breath. We'll take our peaceful warrior, reaching. Feel that stretch. Feel gravity help with that arm. Feel the breath. Know that the breath is squeezing and releasing two big places. The thoracic outlet, I think it's called, and the cisterna chyli are two places, one down towards the belly and one up by the heart and lungs. Kind of the big reservoirs that everything leads to before it returns to the venous system. The right side of the heart, back to warrior two. Hands to hips. Straighten that front leg. Pivot. I like a nice wide stance in Prasarta. If you want to shorten your stance, feel free. Let's bring the arms up. Exhale behind you. Draw those elbows back. Push the knuckles down. Pull the hand away from the low back and fold forward. Breathe. And then exhale, release the fingertips down. Walk to the top of the mat. And then as you step forward, walk your feet wide, left and right edges of the mat. Turn the toes out a bit, and we're going to come down into a squat. You can come down here with me. If you need to stay up in a high squat, feel free. See if you can find your way to the soles of the feet, bringing the heels down. Bring the arms to the inside of the knees, inside of the thighs, and then push out. And at the same time, you're resisting with the knees. Pull your hands in front of the heart. Breathe. So notice what's happening in the groin. That breath is really massaging into the groin spaces. Two more breaths here. And then take the hands behind you and we'll come to a seated position. Legs out long, Dandasana. Now bend the knees a bit and you can keep your feet flexed. Reach up with the arms. So we're going to work from this modified Dandasana to Paschimottanasana, folding forward. Breathe. Again, the belly is pressed against the thighs, so it's a little tougher to take a big inhale. And then inhale up, walk the feet out a little bit, and then fold forward again, keeping that forward tilt in the pelvis. Breathing up and down the spine. And forward again. So I always have a little bend in my knees. I think that's probably the best I'm ever going to do with my hamstrings. I've been doing yoga for a long time, and my hamstrings are just not as flexible as other places, and that's okay. And then inhale, rise up. We're going to bend the right knee, bring the sole of the right foot to the mat. So twisting is another way that we can help wring out the lymphatic fluid. I'm going to take my left arm, wrap it around my right knee. Maybe I stay here. Maybe I bring the right hand behind me and twist. Breathe up and down the spine. Now face forward, open the knee like the page of a book. Sole of the foot can stay against the thigh or lift and tuck it. I like the lift and tuck. We're going to reach up again and fold forward. Taking the foot, taking the shin, cross at the wrists. Keeping a forward tilt in the pelvis, pull. And the right side of the ribs is pulled towards the left knee. So a little twist here. Breathing deeply into the belly, bringing awareness to the groin. We call that the inguinal area. And also the back of the knee, the popliteal area, both sides. So one side stretched, the other's being squeezed. You could even in this shape start contracting the muscles of the right leg, especially the calf, kind of milking that area. And then rise up. Now I'm going to take my right ankle past my left thigh. Take my hands behind me. So before I come up into this seated number 4, my elbows are bent just like we did in our prasarada. Draw those elbows towards each other. Feel the stretch in the front of the chest. Now bend the knee and press forward any amount. And breathe. Now keep that ankle right where it is, and we're going to shift forward. Maybe you can keep your ankle, and you end up kind of at an angle here, but half of a locust pose, Padmasana. You can adjust if you like, bringing the heel a little more towards the groin. Breathe here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. Try to keep a nice neutral spine, pelvis tilted forward. And fold forward here. You can bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra. I like to then just let go and rest my forehead on my thumbs. Deep breath into the belly. So the in-breath is deep, and the out-breath, we really pull that navel back towards the spine. Inhale, rise up. And unwind those legs. Tap them out a bit. And then bend the left knee. We'll take the second side. Come up on that foot like you want to stand. And take your twist. Exaggerating the breath again. And feel how that really presses into the contents of the abdomen. Remembering that lymph system in the lining of the intestines. But also that pressure against the diaphragm that helps to pump the lymph fluid. And then unwind. We'll open the knee out. Foot stays here or tucked. Inhale, reach up. Janu Shirshasana, reaching forward, crossing the wrists and pulling a bit. Draw your left rib cage towards your right knee. And then feel that stretch in the back of the right knee. You can even take the hand back there again, do some circling. We do that in Tai Chi. And then bring some awareness to the left, especially the calf muscles. So you can start just squeezing and releasing. Feel that in the back of the left knee. We're kind of milking the vessels of the lymph. Then rise up. We're going to lift the foot, take the ankle past the right thigh, hands behind you, bend the elbows, stretching through the front chest, shoulder blades towards the spine. And bend coming into number 4, excuse me. So all this diaphragmatic breathing helps increase the motility of the digestive tract. So a little burp every now and then just means you're being effective. Now keep that ankle where it is, and we're going to come into more of a Sukhasana shape, but with the leg here. And if this doesn't work for you, just come into Sukhasana, crisscross applesauce. But coming into half of a lotus pose, draw the heel towards you. And this knee is going to probably be out in space, but it's well supported in my body. Inhale up. This time bring the hands together in Anjali Mudra. Touch the third eye with your thumbs. And then with a nice neutral spine, folding forward. If you need to release the fingertips to help control this descent, feel free. And then breathe. Up and down the spine. And then inhale, rising back up. Take the hands behind you, unwind, and let's take a wide position with the legs. Upavista Konasana. Roll those toes inward. Pelvis tilts forward. Reach up and then fold forward here. Once you have found your edge, roll on the heels again so the toes point up. And you can even roll the toes back a bit, taking the hands into the toes and kind of pressing back. Can deepen the stretch. And now you have a little external rotation. Breathe into the belly. Massage the groin space. Push that lymph fluid along. And then inhale, rise up. And we'll come to our backs. As you come to the back, keep the knees bent and walk your heels close. Take your hands along your sides, palms down. Reach down there and see if you can touch your heels with your fingers. Lift one shoulder blade or one shoulder and tuck the shoulder blade, lift the other. We're going to come up and down into some bridge poses. Pressing into the hands, into the feet as you inhale, lift up. Push the knees away. We're going to hold this one for 3 breaths. Again, a big, exaggerated, deep diaphragmatic breath. And then on this third exhale, come back down. Reach with your tailbone as you come down so you feel longer as you land. Back is flat. Breathe. Let's do one more like that. On your inhale, lift. If you want a little more stretch in the armpit area, you can tuck and grab lace the hands together like we did when we were in Prasarada. Now we're really open through the front chest. Lift the hips. Big, deep, exaggerated breath. 2 more. Release the hands and slowly come down. Once you arrive, draw the knees in. Let's circle through the hips. Circle to massage the groin space. And release your way into your shape for Savasana. We'll spend a couple moments here, and then we're going to come up and do something a little different. Kind of all along the lines of helping our immune system. As you're settling into stillness, maybe visualize the lymph fluid pumping along now. Pumping, I guess, isn't the right word. We're laying still. We've pumped it along. So we have taken out the stagnation in the lymph system. The lymph system is a filtration. So we've cleansed, we have triggered the immune response in the body to take care of all the bad guys that just need to be swept away. Maintaining our health, our vitality, life force energy. That flow that is prana rides on the breath. Three more breaths here. And on your next inhale, let's take a good stretch, arms overhead. Keep the arms overhead or even in the shape of an X, and we're going to press everything. So reach through the fingers, press down through the legs, through the arms. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Let it go. Remember, the muscle contraction helps to push the lymph fluid along. Let's do that again. Inhale. Everything contracts. Exhale. Let it go. Now rock your way up to a seated position, and then right on up to standing. So in Tai Chi and Qigong, we knock and tap a lot. So I want you to take just gentle fists, and I'm not going to do a lot of it because my microphone's here, but tap into the sternum. And then we're going to knock into the ribs. And then take those same fists and knock into the back, up and down the spine, just kind of between the low ribs and the pelvis. And then we'll knock into the groin spaces. Remember, that lymph is there. And then we're going to take the hands to the glutes and knock down the backs of the legs. And then up the inside and down the back. And up the inside one more time. And coming back up, armpit area. So underneath the armpit, up and down the ribs, and then down the inside of the arm and up the outside. And second side armpit. And then inside of the arm, up the back. And keep your stance wide. And this is a side to side, so it's kind of a lunge, but we let our arms just hang, and the movement comes from twisting the hips. And this is called knocking on the door of life. So the hands slap into the kidney region. The kidneys in Chinese medicine are considered the door of life. And then coming to stillness, walk the feet under the hips, rub the hands together. Backs of the hands. And then rub the arms. So there is energy right under the skin called the Wei Qi field. And we're causing that to rise up, rub the shoulders, the ribs, the back, and the legs. So that energy rises up to protect us. And then come to stillness and notice that energy, that tingling, that sense of being alive, that sense of flowing. Let's inhale, reach up. Grab some prana from the sky. Exhale, draw that to the heart. Use some of these techniques as we move into the cold and flu season and know that our yoga practice supports us in these times so well. Well, let's use it. May you have peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful, healthy world. Namaste. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.